CM Punk goes off script, AEW Fight Forever sequel cancelled, fresh TNA controversy, and more. I'm Luke Owen, in the awkward phase of trying to grow my beard back, and this is the WrestleTalk news.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive bonus videos over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk.
We are now fully into year 2 of the Return to WWE section of CM Punk's Wikipedia page as he made his return to the company at last year's Survivor Series. He teamed with Roman Reigns and his OG Bloodline to beat Bloodline 2000 at this year's Survivor Series, then made an appearance at the post-show press conference. And after making the obligatory all-out press conference reference, which is getting to Survivor Series 1997 levels of can we all just let this one go now, he was there to hear Sami Zayn being asked about his journey to this War Games main event, considering that just a couple of years ago he was having a Match of the Year candidate with Johnny Knoxville of Jackass fame. This was at a time when CM Punk was all elite, a pre-Muffin timeline if you will, and Punk hilariously looked genuinely surprised to hear that Sami Zayn was once upon a time being beaten up by Johnny Knoxville and Wee Man. So, if you're watching this, Phil, and I know you're not, so if you're someone who knows Phil and can get in touch with him quite easily, pass on this message to him. Please, can we have a watch-along live stream of CM Punk seeing Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn for WrestleMania for the first time, pretty please? Though maybe giving Punk a live mic is not a good idea. That is a bit unfair, as by all accounts, Punk has been a role model citizen since his return to WWE. Fightful Select even reported that not only has Punk been on his best behavior, he's actually been quite helpful, which is why when you hear that Punk went off script at Survivor Series, some internal alarm bells do start to ring. As Punk was making his entrance for the War Games match, he went to the cage holding all of Bloodline 2.0 and pie-faced Bronson Reed, prompting the rest of the group to just try and get at him. Michael Cole even noted that Punk was always creating controversy as he did it, and some viewers even experienced the screen cutting to black for a few seconds. And according to Ibu of Wrestle Purists, this was an unscripted moment. He said, being informed, this was a total audible, done to add some fire to the long entrance period, which, for my money, actually really worked. Perhaps WWE could have called an audible when it came to their merchandise for Survivor Series. WWE has always been an incredible merchandise machine. Although there was a period of time when AEW was called just a t-shirt company, no one, and I mean no one, quite puts out merch like WWE. And it's also always worked out for them too, as some t-shirts at live events can cost upwards of $45. But they're not always perfect. As this Twitter user pointed out, the location t-shirt for Survivor Series, which took place in Vancouver, looked a bit more like Seattle. They wrote, "Yo, WWE, why is the Space Needle on our merch? Come on, WWE shop." Now, Your Honor, I'm just a simple British YouTube man, but Vancouver does have a needle like this, right? Harbour Centre? I googled it this morning. So you let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that this is a botch, or do you think that this is Seattle or Vancouver? And you know what? Maybe they could have just made a change to it. After all, Naomi did, and we'll have more on that after a word from this episode's sponsor, the Wrestling Masterclass.
Huge shot and a cover! 2, 3!
As a pro wrestling commentator? Wrestling Masterclass is now more affordable than ever, including stacks of high-quality HD video lessons, insider podcasts with top industry experts, in-ring seminars, downloadable worksheets, and so much more, from the likes of Will Ospreay, Al Snow, Raven, Mike Chioda, Dutch Mantel, and many others. Our courses outline the precise actions needed to achieve your goals faster than your peers, and so much more. Scored an average of 9 out of 10 by people who have taken them, begin your journey into the business today from as little as just $77. Scan the QR code or visit WrestlingMasterclass.com now.
It may have been a birthday celebration for Naomi, who was part of the winning team for their War Games match, but it contained a last-minute change. Naomi wore gear that felt like a tribute to her old designs but with a modern twist, but one fan noted on Twitter that the wig she was wearing didn't quite match the outfit. Now this is what you come to the WrestleTalk news for. A bald man approaching 40 wearing this cardigan talking about fashion. And Naomi has since revealed this is because the gear she had made for Survivor Series, which would have matched the wig she had made, weren't used. She had a blue wig and a pink wig to match the blue gear and the pink gear, but the blue one wasn't completed in time and the pink one didn't fit, even sharing pictures of the designs online. She added, "Y'all don't understand how stressed I was that neither of my War Games looks came through." And as something of a fashion icon myself, I can understand. I mean, have you seen the combo I'm in today? Slay. I didn't do the live reactions for Survivor Series as I was away for the weekend with my family. I went to the Postal Museum here in London, which was surprisingly awesome. So I'm catching up on the show bit by bit, but from what I've seen online and in our own comment section, yeah, it was an alright show, wasn't it? The men's war game was great and the triple threat was ace, but there wasn't much else on the show to run out and see. Survivor Series currently sits at just below 7 out of 10 on Cage Match, slightly up from Crown Jewel but below Bad Blood, and just over 3 out of 5 on WrestleTalk's ratings. And according to WrestleVote, this could be because WWE are currently gearing up for much bigger things. They noted on Twitter that the day after Survivor Series was seen by WWE as the unofficial start of the most important and unpredictable stretch in WWE history. They're heading towards Saturday night's main event in mid-December, the Raw Netflix debut in January, a second Saturday night's main event on NBC, a massive Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber in the Sky Dome, and then both nights of WrestleMania, which WrestleVotes add in a reply, WWE will be justifying the priciest WrestleMania tickets ever with an all-timer of a show. But interestingly, they add in the original tweet, so if Survivor Series felt somewhat underwhelming to you, it was likely by design. Do you agree with this assessment? Let me know in the comments down below. And speaking of underwhelming, AEW Fight Forever has had a rocky road since its release. I'm an elder millennial, so I rather enjoyed how much it felt like playing No Mercy in WCW NWO Revenge, aka the best wrestling games of all time. Don't at me, I won't hear any differing opinions because my subjective nostalgia for them is far too strong. But it was also a little bit limited. The story mode was bonkers and outrageously fun, but the creation suite was uninspired. The gameplay was pick up and play, but the roster was rather limited. But as I wrote for the WrestleTalk magazine when it was released, this was supposed to be the starting blocks for a complete game. And that was, by all accounts, the plan. Fightful Select always reported that the plan for Fight Forever was to release one game, then add new roster members to it, rather than do yearly releases like WWE and other sports titles. The last roster update came in May of this year, when Samoa Joe, Jay White, and Adam Copeland were added to the game, along with some new additions to the gameplay and Creator Wrestler mode. And Fightful Select reported last month that Soraya had recently done scans to be added in, but nothing has come from that since. Game Informer reported in September that AEW and Ukes had a 1-year agreement for post-launch content, but that AEW would likely be looking for a new development partner for any potential sequel due to a bad development process of the game. Though built on Unreal Engine 4, both Fightful Select and Game Informer note that AEW own the rights to the build of Fight Forever, which means they can take the core game to someone else. And now Ukes' producer, Takeshi Takazawa, has told Video Game Chronicle that the only people holding up a potential sequel are AEW and specifically Kenny Omega. He said, "It's an Omega decision ultimately. He can probably answer that for you, and depending on what AEW wants to do, nobody knows for sure how Ukes' involvement will pan out." He added that Ukes' future with AEW may be a little unclear. What would you like to see next from AEW Fight Forever? Let me know in the comments down below. But there's more wrestling out there than just WWE and AEW, as TNA ran their Turning Point pay-per-view on Friday, which saw a surprise appearance. The trios match with the Hardys and Ace Austin taking on the Rascals and Kushida hit some problems when it was revealed that Trey Miguel had travel issues. But they had a surprise partner in the form of former WWE star Matt Riddle. Riddle has become somewhat of a controversial name in wrestling since his release from WWE, reportedly burning his bridges with New Japan Pro Wrestling. However, according to Fightful Select, TNA said they were happy about the live reception to Riddle. They add TNA sources we spoke to said that while the situation wasn't ideal, they weren't too stressed considering they were at a convention where there were 100 or so possible replacements. Riddle himself only learned about the booking shortly before it happened, and although happy with his reaction, TNA won't commit to using him again in the future, according to Fightful Select. Not sure what to see at the cinema this Christmas? Well, myself and Satni Yangi took a look at all the big releases coming out in December for Cineworld Cinemas, which you can check out by clicking the video on screen.